Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. Happy Tuesday, guys. Back here doing another song from Totally Driven. Very classic track. One of the ones that, you know, when people say, what's the Uriah Heep song I might know? Boom, Easy Livin'. Or Stealin'. That's often another one. Lady in Black sometimes too. But a lot of people don't know Lady in Black by the title because there's no chorus that brings you into the immediate memory of what that song is when you hear the name. However, you certainly get that with Stealin', and you get that with Easy Livin', which we're going to get to in just a couple of minutes. But first, a couple of things. As you guys know, Dave White does an amazing job running the Uriah-Heep.com website. And on there, you can also find the official store. And in the official store, you can find all the T-shirts and pics and all the various bits of merchandise the band has. You can also find copies of their albums, some of them, the more recent ones. And you can also find these amazing box sets that were done by BMG, the Choices box set, which are selections from current and former members of the band. And you also have the Everyday Rocks box set, the amazing 7 picture disc, 7 t-shirt, wall calendar, beautiful package that BMG has released. Interestingly, now all those albums were done on picture disc, very thick, really brilliant, sturdy material. And the graphic artwork that was recreated for those was fantastic. We've got some alternate versions that Roger Dean did for those. But here's the thing. They have released a lot of those picture discs as individual discs now. They haven't released all of them, but some of them. And they're also moving on beyond the box set. They've already released Return to Fantasy. I believe there may be some more in the works. So here's what I would do. After we're done doing new shows and all the content has been covered, everything they've recorded in the studio, which will be this season and next season, until a new album is out, that's pretty much all the content I'm aware of. So if you guys know of something like these 2 albums that I was not aware of, because remember, I thought these were just compilation albums at first. So if you guys know of anything else, contact me either through the Instagram page, through the Facebook page, or email me at uriahheeppodcast@gmail.com. Very important, because if they did it, I want to make sure that we cover it. Excluding live albums, I have no intention of covering any additional live albums. This show was always about the studio. So go check out the website, though. Check through the merchandise, see what you might want to pick up. There's some really cool stuff. I can tell you, I bought the hoodie, the one with the big UH logo over the heart. And I can tell you, not only is this the most comfortable hoodie I've ever owned, and I'm totally a hoodie guy, it's also the warmest. There's been very few nights since I've purchased it when I go out for my weekly walk on the strip. There's rare times that I have to, wear my jacket. This hoodie is usually enough to keep me warm. That with, a nice winter hat and some gloves, and I'm good to go. So check it out. Their stuff is really reasonably priced. I have to tell you, I've looked at some other bands' merchandise pricing, and I'm like, holy cow, who's paying this kind of money for it? I think Uriah Heep's pricing is great. Their shipping is really good too. And that's great because right now shipping is ridiculously crazy. So really, guys, go check it out. And you know what? Dave does such a great job with it. It deserves a look. And the website he's designed is so extensive. It's just absolutely crazy. So go check out all that stuff. The Choices box set, Everyday Rocks box set, the individual picture discs, and all the stuff in the store, and all the stuff. There's just tons of all of Uriah Heep's history, breakdowns of all the albums, all that kind of stuff. It's really, really comprehensive. So thank you, Dave, for maintaining that and doing such a great job with it. It's absolutely fantastic. I still go to it very frequently, I have to say. I also want to thank all the people who have been patrons of the show. I have really kind of shut the Patreon down because I haven't been producing enough content to make it fair to charge people. the monthly donation. So thank you guys. It has meant so much to me. It's been able to help me pay for a couple of years of the show's annual fee. So, and just the fact that I created something that was really just meant to share this band with people, the love of the music, the knowledge of the band that I have, and my interactions with them, which have all been fantastic. All the good stuff about Uriah Heep, and so many people who I would hear, oh yeah, I know who they are, and just like knew the band's name, but couldn't connect them to the music, especially here in the States. There was a lot of that. But around the world too, and share the love with people who are familiar with them and have been, following the band since the 70s. So, but to know that out of all of that, there were people that enjoyed and appreciated what I did enough to want to donate on a monthly basis has been absolutely fantastic. And I will never really be able to express how grateful I am for that, because that really shows that what I did worked. It was worth the effort and all that, plus all the emails I've gotten from people about how, they love this song or that song or this album or whatever, or they've been wanting to get into Heep for a long time and just didn't know where to start, or just didn't, because it's kind of intimidating when you find out this new band's got like 24 albums out or now 25 albums out. You're like, I don't even know where to start. And people will waffle. They'll just not. Instead, they might check out a single or two, like, oh, what's the best of or whatever, and they kind of let it go there. So I think going into these songs and showing the appreciation, showing the layers and the levels of just unbelievable talent and creativity from this band over all of the generations of it has really been worth it. So thank you to all you two who've shared the podcast, who've written in, who have subscribed to, whatever your various podcast outlet is. But mostly the word of mouth, like in reviews on iTunes and Apple Podcasts have really been helpful. Haven't had any new ones in a long time, but the show content has been kind of sporadic just because we were waiting for the new album. I had covered everything else. Then I found out about these two albums. So it's going to kind of really slow down after this unless something big happens. But there will be updates to the Facebook page, to the Instagram page, and to the website. So, keep your eyes on those places, because that is where, like, if they BMG releases another picture disc, then obviously I'll be promoting it on all those social media avenues. I did close down the Twitter account. I closed all of my Twitter accounts because, screw Twitter. It's really to me, it was a very toxic environment. And it's never the environment, it's the people, but it's the way that people are so anonymous on Twitter that they tend to get very aggressive and forward, because it's not like their Facebook page where it shows their personality and you kind of get to know people. Twitter's a very anonymous format. And so I just found a lot of just obnoxiousness. So I had 3 accounts there. They're all gone quite happily. So in the earlier shows, you'll hear me refer to Twitter. Don't waste your time. So that being said, I also want to thank Cakewalk by BandLab, who is the digital audio workstation that I record and edit this show on. I want to thank Podbean for being the host of the show. That may change at some point. We will see. But for now, it's Podbean. Also, iTunes for hosting all those reviews and stuff. I really appreciate that. My graphic artist, Scott Lazinski, who has done an amazing job with the day and night logos that you see promoting the show. You used to see him on Twitter more than anywhere else, but, that's gone. So now you just see it on the other social pages and the website, of course. And the Podbean player, shows the logo for each show. And I alternate the day and night logo from season to season. Audionamics does a great job with their Instant Dialogue Cleaner, or IDC. Several people have approached me and actually purchased it through hearing how the audio quality of the show is. So that's been great. I mean, there's no better testament than hearing it in action. Also, Isotope, I use their declick for cleanup of any digital clicks that might get in the audio. For waves, I use their vocal writer, sibilance, and debreath to help clean up those little artifacts and noise. And for the compressor, I use just a gentle compression, and that's just to help do a final level out of things. And that is a Cakewalk product, Sonatus. I don't think that's available anymore, but you can use really any compressor and just use some gentle compression on there. So also, before we get started, I want to thank, and also, by the way, Dave White runs Mick's website. Mick Box has his own site at www.mick-box.net. So go check that out as a treasure trove of all things Mick Box. Lastly, I want to thank some podcasts. My buddy Brandon over at Metallicast, the only Metallica podcast I listen to. Also want to say go check out gottahear'emall.com and Louder with Ace over on Stitcher. I think he's still releasing episodes on YouTube too. They're very infrequent, so just go and check back. If you subscribe, you'll get a notification when a new show pops up, which is always very helpful. Lastly, before we get into the song, and I'm doing this today because it's a much shorter song, it's less than 3 minutes, so it won't take us that long to get through. I want to thank my brothers and sister over at the Deep Dive Podcast Network. We have such an amazing lineup of shows. The main hub of the show now is the website deepdivepodcastnetwork.com, where you will get the latest episodes of the shows. They're just fed in by date, most recent at the top. And I believe they're working on expanding that site. Nate from the Deep Purple Podcast, who's like one of the most ridiculously busy people I know, has put that together, and he's done a great job. So thank you for that, Nate. We've got shows like T-Bone's Prime Cuts on the other side, which is interviews with musicians and people in the business. The Deep Purple Podcast, the Skinnered Reconsidered Show. We have Sabbath's Bloody Podcast, In the Lap of the Pods, which is a Queen podcast. Hawk Binge, which is all about Hawkwind. Maiden A to Z. We have Diary of the Madman, the Ultimate Ozzy podcast, the Universally Speaking Red Hot Chili Peppers podcast, George and Hattie at the Judas Priest Cast, which was the Judas Priest podcast, rebranded as Judas Priest Cast. And we have And the Podcast Will Rock All Things Van Halen, Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited. God, I should know I'm on that show. And we have John and Corey also do a show called Backtracks Theme Music, which is all about music appearing in film and television. An excellent show. Been honored to be a guest on that one from time to time, as well as And the Podcast Will Rock. We have North by South, a song comparison and contrast of sorts between Canada and North America, or Canada and the United States. I always say North America when it's really, Canada is also North America, so that makes no sense whatsoever. We also have So Far, So Pod, So What, a Megadeth podcast, the Tom Petty Project. We have the Seaside Pod Review, all about Queen. We have And Volume for All. We have the Rock Roulette podcast. And our newest podcast, we have Chaz and Greg joining the network at Regarding Lulu, which is all about the Lou Reed Metallica joint album. So it's going to be a fairly short-lived but very in-depth show. All the links are on the website, guys. Just go to scotthaskin.com, SCOTTHASKIN.com. Click on the Uriah Heep podcast link, go all the way down to the bottom, and all the Deep Dive podcast links will be there. Also, I have a page for the other show, Backtracks Aerosmith Revisited, where I have another set of all of those links. So any one of those shows that you want to check out, there's some great stuff there. Go and listen to them, guys. They're a lot of fun. I enjoy all the shows when I have time to listen to them. A lot of hard work put into each and every one of them, and I'm very proud and honored to be part of that network. I've had some great support there. So thank you, guys. Let's get into it. Here it is so this is the fourth time I'm reviewing the song. So I originally reviewed it with Demons and Wizards, and that would have been back on January 7th of 2021, very early in the show, because, Demons and Wizards was their fourth album. Doing 4 shows a week, it doesn't take long to get through those. Then I reviewed it again with Dave when we did the Live in 73 version. Now, the first version, when I did it in January of 2021, that was with my friend John Matola, who is the co-host of the Deep Purple podcast. So after I was done with all the shows, I went back and re-reviewed all the songs that I had reviewed with a co-host, just doing them by myself. Because when you work with a co-host, there's, your mind is occupied by a lot of things. You might miss things, forget to mention things, all that. So I went ahead and reviewed all those co-host shows in another season. So that was the third time. So now's the fourth time I'm going to review Easy Livin'. And guess what? It also was re-recorded by the band on the Celebrations album. So next season, we're going to get one more crack at this song. But for now, let's see what Mick Box, Bernie Shaw, Trevor Boulder, Lee Kerslake, and Phil Lanzon did for their recording of this song. Man, Lee is hitting hard on this one. We've talked about it, guys, for those of you, especially who are not drummers, or even for those who are, double shuffle is not the easiest drum lick to play. And to play it with power is even harder, especially the faster the tempo. Russell Gilbrook is one of the only drummers I know that just is a master of it. I suck at it as a drummer, but that's okay because I don't really play a lot of double shuffles. Lee is another one who was always really just a monster. Think of songs like Easy Livin', Return to Fantasy, lots of them over the years. But this one, man, he is just pounding that snare and it sounds fantastic. I think I'm hearing a little bit of Bernie's Canadian accent in there. Maybe not. It might just be the way he's singing it. But I'll tell you, it sounds good. Again, he's sticking really close to the original, but adding a little touch of flair to it to make it his own in his pronunciations. Really cool. Very powerful. The mix is really rich and lush with the organ and guitar. Bass and drums are just rocking. It's everything that you would hope for and expect from this song. I have to wonder by this point in time when they recorded it, how many times Lee Kerslake has played this song, with all the venues. I mean, ever since Demons and Wizards, they had to have done it at every show or just about every show. So, but listen, just so much energy and passion I can hear in his playing, great drum fills, a lot of forward movement. He's killing it on this one. So even in that range, those sounded more like male voices to me than some of the ones that I've heard earlier on the album. A couple songs where I commented that they sounded more female voice. And again, I have no documentation. I have nothing to work with except what I'm hearing. But I really like that part. I love what Lee was playing. That was very syncopated, really powerful and relentless. Really, really cool part there. And I can't recall. I'm trying to hear the original version in my head, and I don't think it was anything like that. Again, it's like I'm trying I'm hearing one song and trying to think of a different one in my head, and it's even harder when it's the same song in a different version. So I have to go back and listen, but I don't think there was anything syncopated quite like that at all. I think he was just still playing the shuffle through that. But in any case, yeah, fantastic. Really driven part. Vocals sound great. Song is just, it's just filling my head, on both sides. There's no air in this whatsoever, but it doesn't blow my ears away. It's not too loud. It's not too full. It's really like just a very satisfying meal for my ears. That's the weirdest metaphor I've ever given on the show. That definitely felt like concert footage, you know, only just a very clean recording of it. Very energetic, really passionate, concert ending, you know. Yeah, it's everything that you could want. It's a fantastic version of the song. And I'm always amazed every time I hear this song. It's not even 3 minutes long, and there's such a punch packed in it. And then as soon as it's over, you're still in your mind going, you know, and it just doesn't stop. Great song. It's easily understandable why this was a hit. It really is. So we've been through this song before. What do you guys think of it? I'm sure that you know, even if it's one you've heard a lot, like how do you not tap your foot to it every time it comes on? How do you not just get into the song? For me, it's pretty impossible. And even with other versions, like getting away with all the memories I have associated with the original and when I heard it and, you know, what was going on in my life at that time and all that stuff, even taking all of that away and just listening to the track, it's damn powerful. You don't need associations for this to be a great song because it just is a fireball from beginning to end. So, yeah, let's wrap it up for today, guys. Been a great song to listen to. Lots to discuss. Go check out the website. Go check out the merch store because Uriah Heep has a lot of great stuff available for you. And right now, you know, bands are not making that much money on albums and you know, there's not a lot of touring going on. So merch sales are a big thing for bands. So support the band. Check out their stuff. I mean, it's trade. You get something for your money too. Anyway, have a great day, guys. We're off tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday with another episode. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magicians Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!